Hi, welcome to the Rittner Floral School in Boston, Mass. I'm Dr. Steve Rittner, and it's a pleasure to welcome you into one of our classrooms today because we've got a really neat demonstration for you, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. We're getting close to Easter, and therefore we thought it would be kind of fun to do something with the Easter idea in mind, and what better way to represent Easter than bunnies. Easter stands, of course, for the resurrection, but it also represents the renewal of life after a long and cold winter. Sometimes the simplest approach is really the easiest or the best. I have here some daffodils, definitely seasonal, great at this time of the year. They smell so good. Look at them, they're gorgeous. And all I've done here is just taken them, put them together into a cluster, thrown a little rubber band on them, and then we can simply drop them in, move them around our little bunny, and now we have a lovely little design that we could place on a table. It could go in our dining room, it could go in a kitchenette, it could go in a work area. It's fragrant, it's beautiful, and yet this kind of thing is so easy to make. All we have to do is just take a cluster of flowers and drop it into our container, and we've got the Easter motif, simple yet fun. Let's start off with some of our spray roses. They're gorgeous, they're beautiful, they come in a wide variety of colors, and we can take them and notice that by placing a few of our spray roses, we immediately can create quite an impact visually. Let's add a few more of our spray roses to this. And we can see that we're starting up tall. Let's play and mix these things together. The neat thing about this design is it's going to be a mixture of all kinds of things. And I have here a tulip that I'm going to work in, and I'm going to let it just kind of bend naturally the way tulips often do into place, and it's going to move and wiggle around a little bit for us. But we're going to play with a few other neat things in this design. This is going to be a real mixture of all kinds of flowers. For example, here is a palm, and it's green. Look at this. Isn't this neat? I'm going to take a green palm and I'm going to put it in here. In other words, I'm going to mix all kinds of different flowers together on this to come up with something that I think you're going to find kind of interesting. Now you see this flower that I just placed? One of my favorite flowers. These are miniature gerbera, and look, they're hot pink and they've got a great little black center to them. They're absolutely stunning. Really a neat flower, striking flower. Let's add one of those into our mix. And then after we do that, we can add another one of our green palms. In other words, I'm mixing all kinds of things together. Now, if I was going to work with daffodils on the chocolate container, certainly we can also play with daffodils on this one as well. And so I'm going to add to my design another daffodil, placing it over here. I'm just gradually working my way down here on this design. And then let's play with a few more of our daffodils too. If I can have one over here, let's work one over in here as well. So I'm gradually adding more and more of my flowers to the design. How about another tulip? I had one up high, I'm going to add another one down a little bit lower. And so we're going to work one over in here. As you can see, I'm coming up with what we call a polychromatic mix, a polychromatic mixture. We've got a lot of different things here. Let's add another one of our daffodils here. You know, when we're dealing with a springtime motif, all kinds of beautiful, colorful flowers that all mixed nicely together really work very, very well in these kinds of designs. Oops, this one fell over. It didn't want to stay for me. I'm going to take it and poke it right back in there. Now it's going to stay very nicely. Let's add a few more things to this. How about another one of our spray roses? We're going to work that in place, and that's very, very nice. Now let's see, what else can we do? Well, let's see, I've got some really striking miniature carnations. These are a beautiful flower, and look how bright and vibrant they are. Let's mix some of these into our design for contrast. And so I'm going to work a miniature carnation here, and then let's take another miniature carnation and shoot it out over on this side of our design. I think you can see I'm having a lot of fun by taking all kinds of different materials and playing with them. How about another one of our tulips? I'm going to take one and I'm going to work it over here, and I'm going to let the curve of the stem work so nicely for me, just angling down over onto this side. And then, how about another daffodil? We'll put another daffodil in here. You can see this is coming together quite nicely for me. We're mixing all kinds of beautiful flowers together in this. We're coming up with something that's kind of a tulip, and I'm going to work it over onto this side. So this is coming out very nicely with my tulip working over on this side. I've got a tulip here, another tulip over there. Now let's see, what else can we work into our mixture of different things? Well, I had a few miniature carnations, one over here and one over there. Let's add another one over here in towards the front. In other words, I'm taking these and I'm gradually coming in, bringing them in closer, and coming up with a very, very interesting mixture. I had a few of my spray roses up here. Let's add one over in here. So we're going to add another spray rose to our mix. And then let's see, we've had one of our mini gerbera over here. How about one over here as well? Isn't this pretty the way this is coming out? These kinds of designs lend themselves very well to what we call polychromatic mixes. In other words, we're taking different colors and we're mixing them all together. It's bright, it's cheerful, and it definitely is going to say spring. How about another one of our daffodils? We'll work that right over in here. And I'm gradually working in. But although I'm working my flowers in towards the bottom of the design, I don't want to cover my bunny head. So I'll take another one of my palms and place a palm right here. And notice that that's coming in very, very nicely. I'm going for a lush and very, very full kind of look to my design. I want this to feel like there's really a lot of nice content in here, and that's exactly what we're doing. Another one of our spray roses worked over here. Notice how that's giving us a very, very pretty effect. Now, I can also do some other interesting things on some of these kinds of designs. For example, one of my favorite materials is something called curly willow. It's basically a branchy type substance. We can add a little bit of curly willow and come up with an interesting effect on our design. So I could take a little bit of curly willow and poke it in on one side and poke it in onto the other and come up with an interesting little curl on our design where it's kind of coming here and kind of rounding about here. And then I can also take another little piece and work it over here. So we're playing a little bit with a little texture on this by adding some of our curly willow material to it. And then if we want to create greater height on our design, we can create greater height too, because I can take some of my curly willow and place it up a little bit higher. In other words, taking a piece of my curly willow that's a little bit larger and then inserting it in here through the center of the design. We can insert it in very, very carefully and work it in so that I have greater height to the overall composition. So you can see that we can come up with some really, really neat things when we're doing these things. And so our design has a little bit more fluidity because we've added some of our curly willow to it. I want to make sure that my mechanics are nice and covered, and so I'm going to take a little bit of my moss material and I'm going to place a little bit of moss here and there in towards the base like so, and that way none of my foam is going to be showing. We always like to cover our mechanics on these things, so I'm adding a little bit of moss material to make sure that my mechanics are nice and covered. And here we've got a beautiful arrangement for spring, for Easter, using the bunny motif. Notice that we have two very, very different kinds of approaches here. We've got on one hand something very, very informal, quick and easy to make by just taking a cluster of our daffodils and dropping it into a container with a little bit of water. On the other hand, we've got in this particular case something a little bit more formalized where we're taking a number of different flowers and we're placing them all together into something where we've got a nice polychromatic mixture with spray roses and mini gerbera and daffodils and tulips and little curly willow. But in both cases, the commonality is the theme of the bunny or hare. Well, I think that this is a really, really neat thing, and it's kind of fun to do these things. Notice that in doing these designs today, we really had some fun. We made it easy, and that's the whole idea. At Rittners Floral School in Boston, Mass., we teach long courses, we teach short courses, we have day programs, we have evening courses, but the whole idea is to teach you the tricks of the trade so that if you want to learn floral designing, we make it quick and easy for you.